the broader point about women and shame and trauma and all of the things that these themes, the importance of female friendship and loyalty, these are universal. And I think, Sally, that's something very important for all of us as we kind of is to see something in younger women in particular that they don't see in themselves. And I do find that I'm doing it. I don't do it intentionally, but it is sort of how I was trained. And so for me, I think a lot changed personally when I lost my dad. Growing up, I was, of the 4 kids, I was the troublemaker. I was the loud one. I would stand up and like read poetry at our dinner parties. I had no lack of confidence. A rather dramatic shift happened when I lost my dad, and I found this letter that he wrote that I've actually since quoted in my book that my dad wrote about his children going to university, and he said, "Going to university, moving to America is going to be like a revolution for you because you have come from a very sheltered existence, and you are gonna go into a world where you have total freedom to do whatever you want, any choice that you want." And that will be your choice to make. But the only, you know, piece of advice I will give you is that no freedom is absolute. That every choice, every decision you're going to make in your life, there will be consequences, good consequences, bad consequences, and you're going to have to make that decision. And so for me, I found a little bit that I kind of reverted a little bit into my shell, which I think some part of it was the trauma of like losing a parent you were so close to. And I think all of this turning inward and feeling um um that I was better behind the scenes. A little bit of that is probably was a lot of just reverting into a shell, and a lot of it was is couched in that trauma. And I think I have slowly kind of come out of that, but I've also been pushed out of that. And it's the one thing if whenever I get asked what's the one thing, what would you change? What do you regret? All of those things. I wouldn't I don't regret anything, any big choice I made in my life. But what I do now do, and I waited till I was 40 to do this, is I tried something that terrified me, and that was public speaking, that was being out in the world. Now, I have this incredible opportunity at MSNBC. I have, this show called Morning Mika that I get to do, that I, do and I do these talks, I speak at conferences, I co-host this conference. And Sally, I love it. It's extraordinary. And I had to really push myself outside of this sort of inward but other people had to tell me, it's sort of, yes, it can always be about Hillary, but it now needs to be you. You need to be the central character in your own play.
Most personal of all was your book and your book tour
Yeah.
as well, and sharing your
Yeah.
story. And I think because you were so vulnerable, it really resonated, And I think
Yeah.
allowing like others to hear that experience is so helpful, and it's such a gift. But I do think that it also comes with a lot of bravery. You also said something that I'd certainly want to highlight. I talk about how easy this is because there's really no sweat off your back in doing this, but you've done this for me. If there is someone that you respect that believes in you or gives you a little push and supports your vision, it can go such a long way. And I feel like you have been really so intentional with doing that with so many people that you've touched. You've done that for me, certainly. But I try and pay that forward as well, because oftentimes, especially for founders, talk about being vulnerable and exposed and experiencing rejection on a daily basis in a variety of ways. It is just to have one person in your ear that believes in what you're doing,
Absolutely.
why you're doing it. It is the difference of shuttering your business and, retreating into a hole, or breaking through and having such success. And it's it can be so small, you know?
Sally, I could not, and I want to say something very important about you, but I want to couch it in I could not imagine in my life all of these big decisions taking place without a woman, an older woman, a mentor, more experience. I don't mean when I say older, I don't even mean age. I just mean somebody with experience pushing me to make a very, very dramatic, change in my life. So obviously starting with my mother and that grounding, Kelly Craighead giving me this job, believing in me when I didn't think I was good enough to do it. Obviously Hillary Clinton throughout my professional life, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. The TV opportunity I have now, well, before the TV opportunity, I want to talk about my book. I would have never thought about writing a book. I never would have thought about sharing this story. In fact, even when it was suggested to me, I thought, oh my God, no one's going to want to, I would never do this. I have to talk publicly. But it was Anna Wintour, one of my great mentors and dear friend, who constantly, I think that's one of the best gifts that she's given to the world, is she constantly is pushing other women to do things that they don't think they can do. And I didn't think I could write my story. The book exists really because of her inspiration and push to do it. And you were right. I think my story, even though the specifics of my story are very specific. Um, but the broader point about women and shame and and trauma and all of the things that these themes, the importance of female friendship and loyalty, these are universal. And I think it really did hit a chord with a lot of women, that even till today women stop me on the street saying, there's something about your, can I share my story with you?